an all-new episode of The Jeremy White Show.
Available wherever you stream.
So talk a little bit about creating presets and scenes in the Fractal. I mean, I just recently bought an XFX3 because of Phil, so shout out to Fractal, right?
They've been killer. The support's been great. And they always, the great thing about these units is that they're always updating it.
Yeah.
There's always firmware coming out. There's always, you know, oh, we tweaked this, so this is a little more accurate. This EQ is a little better in here. So they're always pushing it. They don't just put it out and say, good luck, that's it, you know.
And everything that comes built in, I mean, like, they're great, fantastic presets out of the gates.
Yeah. Like some effects units in the past are like a little too wet. They sound, you know, they're almost like music store presets. They're like, oh wow, look at all this delay. These out of the box sound great. They're accurate. They're killer. They're super programmable. Or you can be as simple as you want. You know, you can dive in as much as you want, or keep it simple. So they're
So
amazing.
were they already using the Fractal before you came in?
They were using the XFX2 with a Marshall JMP preamps. Remember those gold preamps?
Yeah.
So it was a two-piece thing. And then while Phil and I were on the G3 tour in 2018, John Petrucci got a pre-production XFX3, and we were walking by his dressing room and heard him playing it, and Phil was like, what is that? So we peeked our heads in, and there's this new cool XFX in there. And John's like, oh, come and try it out. So I pulled up a set list, a Def Leppard set list, and Phil starts playing all the Leppard songs.
Right.
And he's like, this is great. I could do a gig with just this. And I'm like, let's do that. So
I'm pretty sure he would have been disappointed you walked in and played through a pod.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
So if he was playing beforehand, I mean, like, talk a little bit about having to go in and dial in these presets and creating song patches, you know, based on the set list. How do you start from a basic preset and go from there, or are you creating patches from scratch based on the song?
The first thing I did was get the basic amp sound, which is, you know, everything is based on a Marshall-y kind of mid-rangey, crunchy, you know, the typical kind of thing that you hear.
Which is funny you say that, because a lot of the fans, they'll say, well, look, they used a Rockman or the Rockbox to record his stereo. Why are they using Marshalls? Yeah,
that for that album, it was great, but I think live, it wouldn't have the same impact. I think live you need. I think so. Maybe we never tried it, but I just think for the impact and the push of a loud, overdriven guitar just works better in this situation.
Yeah.
So all I did was I started from scratch with the XFX3 and just pulled up a live recording of them. I think it was maybe the Viva Hysteria or something like that.
Yeah.
And would just listen to that and go and program for a while. Go back, listen to the patch, listen to the recording so I didn't get too far off base, and I would send that to Phil. He had a unit at his house, I had one at my house.
Nice.
And he'd be like, okay, yeah, a little less mid-range, a little more of this, and we went back and forth a couple times until we finally got to a thing that was like, yeah, I think that'll work. And obviously since then, I'm always tweaking it. So we have a basic patch, basic, you know, rhythm and lead sound, and then song to song, it's like just effects vary. Delay times.
Okay.
Choruses, flanges. There's some special effects stuff, like some sweep delays and things like that.
Cool.
So yeah, but the core amp sound is pretty much the same. We shared it on the Fractal forum a year or two ago.
That's right. I remember the preset coming out.
It was the gift of tone. So
you guys gonna do any more of that stuff, or throw up the preset for women, or
it's
die
pretty
hard?
much the same amp sound though.
Okay.
I thought about. We've talked on the Fractal forum about putting some more presets up there, so I'll probably do that at some point.
Coming this fall for $29.99. You got the full Def Leppard preset kit.
Now that you mention it, maybe.
It all goes to you.
I'll probably share some more stuff. Yeah, people have been asking about that, but again, it's mostly differences in effects, like some delay times and.
So are you trying to recreate, I mean, close to the record type of sound, or is it more like you said, create a ballsy tone that it sounds good in a stadium?
Just that, yeah. It wasn't so much the album sound, unless it was like a specific effect.
Yeah.
Like there's some things where there's a flanger on it on the album, so I'll put a flanger on that.
Right.
But it's still that crunchy amp tone.
Yeah.
But with the effects maybe from that album. So it's sort of a blend of, you know, newer tone, but album effect maybe, I guess you could say. So that kind of thing. Like in Excitable, there's a flangey part in a verse, so we put that on there. Animal's got a little flangey bit when he's playing, so stuff like that.
And I mean, are you doing a lot of the scene presets live, or is it being controlled by like show computer?
I do it all live here.
Because you can do anything with this thing. I mean, like Corey Cherkov in Shania Twain's band, when he was in Shania's band, he's like, in the show computer, all my wah swells are programmed and everything.
We can, yeah. We've kicked that around, but right now, I don't know if we're comfortable giving up that control. You know what I mean? Because there's parts in the show where Phil might hang on a note a little bit longer before he falls off, and I switch back to rhythm. So I'm always watching him and kind of watching his hand, you know, so if he hangs on a note longer, I'll wait and then switch it. So I like being able to just do it myself.
Yeah.
It's busy because you got to tune and do that and all that stuff. But I'm not ready to kind of just give up that.
Then you become redundant, right?
Well, yeah, that too. Yeah, there's job security, but it's just nice to on the fly make adjustments if things are a little different, or if they extend something or whatever. So.
Talk a little bit about the effects. I mean, we talked about delays and reverbs. I mean, they're obviously built into the presets for the live show. How does that affect when you're designing the preset? Venue to venue, stadium to stadium, you've got a cavernous built-in reverb and delay. Essentially, I mean, like, how much of that are you worried about getting lost in the mix?
It can if you have too much of it here. Our front of house guy, Ronan McHugh, is really, he's amazing. He produces their records, he records the records. He'll let me know if there's too much sauce on something, which from the beginning, we had to make some adjustments when we first switched to these. He was like, take back some chorus on this, dial this back. And we're at the point now where wherever we are, it pretty much works.
Right.
I don't have a huge amount of delay on anything. I don't typically no reverb because
you kind of
look where we are. You know what I mean? You really don't need much verb.
You need the Roger Center preset.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a reverse reverb to get rid of some of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's mostly just delays and there's ducking on it. So as he's playing, it drops a little bit and he lets go. It kind of comes back in. So we try to find a balance between where it sounds really good in the ears, but it's not going to be swimming out there too much,
So just real quick, and we'll get off the Fractal stuff. So, the casual consumer comes in watching this, wants to get a Fractal, wants Phil's rig. What's the best way for them to start, aside from the preset they can download? Best amp they can use, best chorus they can use, best delay?
Amp-wise, we're using the JMP amp block, which is kind of modeled again on that old JMP rack unit. So if you start with that, or a JCM 800, or on Pyromania, he used a 50-watt Marshall just cranked up really loud. You can do that kind of thing. Delays, most of them are tape delay, I think, because I like the way the delay is kind of lo-fi.
Okay, yeah.
On a tape delay or an analog.
Like a saturation to it,
and
too.
And it's not like super bright repeats. It's like it gets a little darker, so it kind of blends in nice. It's not too overbearing. Choruses, there's an 80s chorus in there that I like. There's a Dimension chorus that I like. There's a couple things. There's I think it's called Warm Stereo.
Oh, cool.
I like that one too. So it all depends, We'll experiment. If he's totally open to experimenting, if I change something.
Nice. See, contrary to popular belief, it's like people think, just throw an H3000, micro pitch on there, and you need the SDE 3000s. But it's pretty simple.
Yeah. There's not much to our signal chain. It's pretty much like a regular pedal board. It's an amp, cab, chorus, delay, any special effects like flanges or phase. I've been putting a little phaser on some leads before the amp, like an Eddie Van Halen kind of thing.
Like a Phase 90 slow sweep thing.
Exactly, yeah, total Van Halen. So here and there I'll kick that on, and he really likes that. So
cool.
And that was another experiment thing. I don't think I even told him I was doing it. I just kind of did it one night, and he was like,
"What's that?"
That was cool. So we kept it on there, yeah.
Sweet.
But pretty simple. It's not too complicated at all.
An all-new episode of The Jeremy White Show.
Available wherever you stream.
Catch up on past interviews and episodes on demand now.
Subscribe so you don't miss any of it.